Yeah, and then I knew it was getting to be even worse. So I just looked him straight in the eye. You know what it said? And I was 14 or 15. It said hot and ready for $5, standing on a street corner. You're going to have to continue to do those things, and it's never going to be easy. There's a lot of things that I'll never really know the truth about.
Hey everybody, Brian Hogman here, and this is the Brick House Podcast, where our goal is to elevate you financially and emotionally, leave you a little bit better off than how you came. Today, I'm super excited to have Emily O'Brien. Emily, thanks so much for coming.
Well, thank you for having me on this wonderful Monday.
Oh, love it. You know what? I gotta say, you popped up everywhere in my life lately.
Yeah.
Just like I was out last night, TD Coliseum.
Yeah.
My daughter Lila comes back with comeback snacks. Okay. I got 3 gift baskets this week, comeback snacks in them, right? And then, of course, go for a cold plunge. And what do I see there? Comeback snacks.
You need to come back to life after your
totally.
your cold one.
That's a good one, actually. So, but yeah, you know what? Your story is amazing. What you've accomplished is amazing. Like, you know, some people think it's like an overnight success. You've just popped up into my radar, but you've been doing this for a long time. It's been like 7-8 years of you grinding, working hard, right?
Yeah.
So
6 years.
6 years? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Brainchild there. But I just want to start out cause I love the fact that you're a local Hamiltonian, born and raised in Hamilton.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, growing up in the Hammer.
So I grew up in Westdale, and my mom worked at the time for the school board. And now she works for McMaster. My dad worked for the Catholic Church. Great upbringing. Honestly, they put us in sports, played because I had a lot of energy, so I played a lot of sports. I played water polo, rep basketball, which is good. You know, taught me a lot about playing, court and offense and defense. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was always very I always volunteered. We were always very active in the community and just kind of doing stuff. Went to high school. That was where I started being an asshole, and robbing my parents' liquor cabinet and drinking on school property.
It's okay. I remember we went to the same high school at different times.
How can you not?
Yeah, totally. Well, I remember their motto actually at the time. It was kind of funny. It's like, we don't have a drug problem. There's enough for everyone.
Yeah.
It's it's not the best school model at the time, but
yeah,
such were the times.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I feel like that's kind of everyone's high school thing. Maybe not everyone's high school, but it was definitely mine because I just found my classes boring, and I don't know, I just wanted to do something else.
Well, you got a ton of energy, right? And I wonder, when you see what you've developed and built in this world right now, I always like to go back to the foundation, the base, right? Mm-hmm. And you've had adversity, which we'll get to, right? But it sounds like you had a good upbringing, and it sounds like you're really motivated for fun, mm-hmm. but also success. Like, it sounds like your parents had a good foundation, gave you lots of ambition. So what did that initially lead to when you're getting started?
Getting started, how did my ambition start?
Yeah.
Like my first job was delivering flyers for the Hamilton Spectre, because my mom has always been very healthy, but obviously when you go to school as a kid, no one wants to trade fruit to goes with you, when you have fruit to goes and stuff that's actually healthy, but that at that time people had passion flakies and shit. No one wanted what I had, so I was I just want to be able to buy my own passion flakies or my own pizzas and chocolate bars, and so that's why I got my first job. So every time I went to Shoppers Drug Mart, it was chocolate bars were at the time 2 for 99 cents. So I was okay, how many flyers do I have to deliver to get these chocolate bars?
You're doing the math at a young age though. So your parents didn't just hand out the money. They said, you want this, you go get a job and you work for it.
Yeah, exactly. I worked at pizza places like McDonald's. I actually loved working at Little Caesars, except for the fact that they made me stand on the corner.
The sign?
Well, you know what it said? And I was 14 or 15. It said hot and ready for $5, standing on a street corner. Okay?
I'm never looking at Little Caesars the same now. Okay?
I don't think it says that anymore. Yeah. But I was wondering why all these cars were honking at me. I'm oh my.
Oh my God.
But they did let me take home the pizzas that weren't sold at the end of the night, and then I would donate them to the Good Shepherd and stuff. So
really?
Yeah.
You would do that?
Yeah.
Man, you've got a heart on you, So walk me through then. So you went to university as well too. What did you take in University of Guelph?
I took international development, and I took this because when I was doing my gap year, I was just I read a lot about volunteering in other countries, and I just wanted to explore. And so I begged my parents to let me go on this trip to Costa Rica for a month. And it was, I think I was 18 and there was no cell phones. I had a calling card because there's only PayPal. And then I couldn't take a digital camera. My mom was like, you can take disposable cameras because we don't want anything to happen. So I was okay. Those. Yeah. So I took 3 disposable cameras. all the photos were ruined because they don't work. And like at that time, they all get messed up by the air pressure. So I came back, developed all these 3, and they're all like milky, like foggy. So I went there and I worked for 2 weeks in the rainforest, like restoring trails. And then I worked for 2 weeks on the beach, helping like sea turtles, like protect their nests. Cause like poachers want to poach the eggs, and just did like a lot of this restorative work. So that's what I want to do. I was like, I want to like go travel around the world and help build things and fix things. I really liked it. I got to meet so many different people and so many adventures there. Like even in the middle of the night, like I woke up, I could hear this like, I could feel this like tickling on my stomach, and I like turn on the light, and there are just like army, like, you know that scene from The Lion King when they're all like, it's like a stampede.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was ants going down the wall.
That's terrifying.
And they're crawling over my body. And that's what, so lots of wildlife encounters down there. There was like snakes and all that, but I just like loved it. So I was like, that's what I went to school at Guelph for, was international development.
Oh, that's wild. That's wild. I remember I went to university in Australia for a year, and I always remembered to check the shoes before you put your shoes on to see if there's anything in there that could really hurt you, and you're just, okay, good. And then you put it on
you have
again,
to have
right?
like a mosquito net. You had to get like 1 million vaccinations. The malaria vaccination.
Yeah.
We had to get crazy ass dreams every night. It was like,
I remember going for 3. I went to a travel doctor 3 times before, because I went to Southeast Asia and Australia to travel, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm invincible now.
Yeah.
Like I have every single shot known to man right now.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't, but that's not here.
Yeah.
So tell me about, leading up to things. So you finished university,
Yeah.
doing social media, got a job.
Yeah.
And leading up to the amazing event of going to federal prison. Tell us about that.
Sure, yeah. So I came back from Indonesia, because I actually worked in Indonesia after I graduated for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as part of like my program. Loved it. And then I had to, but even then I still didn't have enough job experience. You know how it went. It's like, oh, you need to have 3 years experience. And so I didn't have enough. So I actually got marketing jobs. Like I worked for Pitney Bowes. That was a sales job. But then I would like do promo stuff. And that's kind of how I built like my ability to just talk to anyone, like whether it was like giving out licorice licorice, or I worked for like Trophy Nuts. I worked for Loblaw, and I drove around this massive refrigerated truck and would set up these like big displays outside stores with a team. But yeah, and then over the course of that, people told me like, you're really good at storytelling, like you're pretty funny, and like we love hearing about your story. It's like maybe you could do it for other people, and so that's why I started my social media company. But at this time, like my parents got a divorce. It was pretty messy. Like it was really sad, and I was like told that you're not allowed to be sad about those things, and you shouldn't be sad, and it's kind of like ridiculous. Not just like, okay, like you're this age, don't be sad about it. And honestly, like it just made it worse.
How old were you? Like
I was like 24, but like when you actually see like and like everyone goes through things differently, so like there's no right or wrong way to go through, and like that was one of the main things that I learned. And don't let someone tell you how to feel or not to feel, because then I was like, okay, people are telling me not to feel right now, and that's when.
Well, especially loved ones, like if your mom and dad are telling you don't be upset or don't be like, that's hard to take.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, well, like, and I'm going to be completely frank. Like I drank in university. There's issues with like alcohol. Like there was some like incidents in university with alcohol. But I always had my jobs, and I always like didn't really see it as anything. And then, so at that time when the divorce happened, I would say went from like having like drinks normally to like medicating and cocaine use. But when I lived in Toronto, it was pretty normal.
It was like a normal Friday night, Thursday night. You go out. That's what you do.
Could be a Tuesday night. Like I lived in a very creative. Like everyone lived in Libertyville at the time. They're all creative. They're all in the arts and stuff, or like some in finance. And so I was like, oh, let's do like bumps on Bay Street after work. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's
really true. You are who you surround yourself with, right? Like everything becomes normalized if that's normal.
Yeah.
Right.
So but for me, it's like, but no one can really tell if you're like sad or happy. Like people just assume that you're just happy. And it was,
stimulant.
Yeah. And then I knew it was getting to be even worse when I didn't want to go out, and I had anxiety, and like I didn't want to leave my house, and I didn't want to go to parties anymore. I just like wanted to do drugs by myself.
Wow. Were you still working then too, or did that sort of start to? I still managed to work.
Yeah, like I still have my company. I was still fully functioning and all that. Well, not fully functioning, obviously, but like I still didn't let that slip. I mean, I'm sure I could have been way more productive, but for me, I was doing enough to build my business and grow my business, and get all my work done contractually.
Right. Now, were you having success with that business at that time too?
I was. And that's why I was like, this is like, I would go to events and like promote the event, or like restaurants, or I worked with like the Canadian Basketball League. So it's like all of a sudden I was like sitting in like Butch Carter's office one day, like in like not Scarborough, like East York. I forget what area it's called, but it's just like, and then there was this league called the Canadian Basketball League, and so I helped with social media for that. And there was like some Toronto reality personalities that I worked with, and yeah. But then I met one client of mine that, you know, he had a place up in like Vaughan area, and he was like dipping, like doing cool dips on cars, like, you know, and that was kind of a cool thing. Like some people still do it, but like when people would dip their cars, and
I wasn't sure what you meant. I'm like, dip. Is this
like,
a cool term that I don't know?
Yeah, or like what?
Yeah.
But anyway, so he did like really well, and then I met him, and I guess somehow the topic of like drugs came up, and he's like, I went through all that, and we became really close. And you know, some headlines have been like, oh, he's my boyfriend. He was not my romantic intimate partner. It was nothing like that. He was more like someone that I got along with and trusted, and we had deep conversations, and he helped me with some things, just like walking my dog, and then like the kind of the red flags started to show up. Like one time one of his checks bounced, and he blamed it on his business partner. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then he asked me if I wanted to go on like a trip to St. Lucia, and he asked me for my passport to book it, and I was like, here you go, sure. He's like, okay, we're leaving in 2 days. And I was like, okay, that's kind of quick. And, sorry, he didn't say St. Lucia. He told me Puerto Rico. Oh. He's like, let's go to Puerto Rico. I was like, oh, I've never been to Puerto Rico before. This is actually an important part of the story. I don't know why I said St. Lucia. He's like, let's go to Puerto Rico.
Right.
And we're leaving in 2 days. And then when we get to the airport, I look at my ticket. He's like, here's your ticket, whatever. And it says St. Lucia. And I was like, I've never heard of this place called St. Lucia. And then he's like, oh, it must have just been your drinking. It's like, I told you we were going there the whole time. And I ended up scrolling back my text messages.
You're like,
and it said, yeah. But I was already at the airport, so I just got on that plane. And I did blame myself. I was like, okay, yeah, like I know I drank, so probably was my fault. Wow. And then 3 days in, you know, I went from fun and games to, I'm taking you to this house and we're here to work. It's not all fun and games. And at this point, they have like my passport because I put it in the safe, and then he put it in the safe for me, and then all of a sudden my passport's not in the safe.
Right.
So it's like, well, you know, you don't want to mess with these people. He's in a lot of debt. There's a lot of things that I'll never really know the truth about, right? Other than the RCMP were like, or the CBA say they were on to him because that's what came up in the court reports. Got it. Yeah.
So have you had contact with him since?
He tried to reach out a couple times, but I was just like, I have no interest in talking to you.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm not going on another trip with you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, not even a trip down memory lane there, pal.
Yeah. So, you know, what advice would you give to someone? Like, cause when I hear that kind of stuff, I've got a daughter who's 9 years old, and you think that's kind of like every parent's nightmare, and you lived it, right?
I know.
What advice do you give for those red flags that kind of like to watch out for something like that?
This is like always a hard question to answer, because a red flag to me is like, when it's a red flag, it's actually not a red flag at the time. It's like kind of after. Right. And so sometimes you just don't really know people's true intentions. Sometimes like things are just going to fucking happen. Yeah. Obviously there were, you know, what I saw in him was like the whole element that he was sober, and, you know, so I was looking forward to like this like sober trip down there. Right. And that didn't end up being that really at all. I would just say, like, always, like, tell people have someone always know, like, where you're going. Even though, like, I didn't want to tell anyone where I was because I was mad, you know? Right. So I was like, I'm just going to fuck
You're
off
still
on
in
this
that phase,
trip.
right?
Yeah.
Of being upset.
Yeah. So it was, like, my little escape. But I think, like, always have, like, that one close friend that you can trust. Like, you don't have to tell everyone everything, but have that one close friend that you can really, really trust. And,
have your ride or die that just no matter what, you got somebody. That's awesome.
Someone that understands you through, like, even though you might not be doing the right thing, or like they might have, like, you know what I mean? It's just make sure that you have something that you can always.
Yeah, don't tell no one, right? Yeah. Tell somebody something. Yeah. Right? So they know, oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Wow. So, okay, so fast forward. So you get pinched, right? Yeah. You're at the border, right? Tell me about that. Like, that must have been like, just like when I think about, I get scared going over the border and I'm not even doing anything wrong. So tell me about that moment.
Well, so we get off the plane, and part of what he's told me throughout this trip was, okay, like, you could take the drugs off, because I was freaking out. I was like, I'm a terrible actress. I don't want to do this. I just want to go home. You know what I mean? And he's like, okay, well, once you get to the airport, you can take it off and put it in your backpack. I'll walk the backpack through customs, so you don't actually have to have them on you. I was like, okay. I felt a little bit better. Still not the best, but like, and I honestly didn't think, like, I knew that that like I got taken to this house on the Wednesday, and like I honestly didn't think that it was going to actually come to fruition. I honestly thought it was like a joke. And so like the fact that I was actually here at the airport bringing these drugs was like surreal, like a nightmare. But I didn't know the repercussions. I didn't research the criminal code. Like I just wanted to go home.
Yeah.
You know, call me, you know, dumb, but whatever. Like that's what happened.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so I go to the bathroom to take off the drugs, and he's like, oh no, it's too late now. So he never planned on actually doing that.
Right.
And so that's when like my body language just starts to show that I'm pissed, and like, but again, I'm not going to cause a scene because that's even more dangerous. Like they aren't my drugs. And if it's my fault for like these drugs getting confiscated, like blatantly my fault, then that's even more dangerous. So it's like, I just try to act my best, even though obviously terrible actress. And they call us into secondary. And they separate us immediately, and they ask us a series of questions. And first ones are pretty innocuous, like, you know, like what do you do for work, this and that. And then they start asking questions about your lifestyle. If you like to, you know, like to party. And I was like, yeah. I honestly said yes. I said, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, Miss O'Brien, like we're going to do a physical search on you, because obviously it's like I'm not going to be like, help me, you know what I mean? Because then again, he'd be like, that was her fault.
Yeah.
And then so they're like, Miss O'Brien, we are going to do a physical search on you. Is there anything you want to declare? And then I looked at the floor for what must have been like too long, because they actually had to ask me again. And I was like, I'm done protecting this guy. They already know they're going to search me. The best thing I could do here, and what I want to do actually, what I want to do the whole time is just tell the truth.
Yeah.
But I had to be like thoughtful about it, and, you know, because of the consequences of not doing anything else.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then so I just looked him straight in the eye, and I said yes. And so I honestly thought I could go home after. I was like, okay, here's the drugs, but it didn't work out like that, obviously. And so they end up testing the drugs, and I'm like, okay, when can I go home? And they were like, Miss O'Brien, you're not going home.
So how long did that incident? How long did that land you in jail for?
That got me a 4-year sentence, but it's 2.5 years on house arrest. So I had to move out of my condo in Toronto, give up my dog. I had to continue to work, living in extreme paranoia because I thought people were coming after me, after my family. I couldn't talk about the case, so I was basically like muzzled, but people could talk shit about me. You know, all these people that I kind of knew that I'd never been mean to. Like, I'd never done anything wrong to. And then all of a sudden, like, I was this horrible criminal. And even though they knew me as being this nice person.
See, how did you deal with that? Like, because I find people today, they get pissed off when someone chirps them on social media.
Oh my God, I know.
You've been through divorce, you've been through drugs, you've been through all this stuff, and now you got people shitting on you for what you did. Like, how did you find resilience in that moment? Like, what did you do?
I let it piss me off real good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have to let like things infuriate you to the extent where you have to figure out where to put that energy. And like sometimes you can put into really bad things like revenge, and that's not getting anywhere.
See, that
that's
would be
well, let me say it again so it's like a good soundbite for you.
Okay. Awesome. Slow down. No, just kidding.
Slow down. You have to find somewhere to put that energy, because you can put it somewhere really good, which is like the snowball effect of the good snowball, or you can put it somewhere really bad, and you can surround yourself with people that want you to put it somewhere really bad, like violence, getting even, getting back at that person. I was like, that's not me. But for the first part I did, I was like, I want to get back to that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I had that. And then I was like, this is not me. I was like looking at family photos of me like volunteering. I was like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. You know? And like, that's not who you are. And so it was actually spending more time with my family on house arrest, even though we got in a lot of fights, that actually helped me like reground myself and like reminding myself who I was. And the fact that I was still like stubborn and like I wanted to get not revenge on him, but like I wanted like a sweet revenge, like a positive way to prove that the people that were talking shit were going to be proven wrong. But I knew I had to put in the work, because I knew that I'd done something illegal and I'd done something wrong, and I knew that these drugs were harmful. Like, look what they did to me, right? But
so in a way, it's kind of like building, like, because they say a lot of good things come out of pain, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost in a weird way, you didn't seek it towards revenge, but building it out of pain for who you really were, and building out your reputation and being like, hey, listen, I'm going to show you that I'm not this person.
Yeah.
I'm this person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. So was there any like books that you read or anything that you were like, you said I love it. It's kind of like that slow down to speed up. You didn't have internet access. Am I right on that? Or you didn't
in prison?
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's always a way. I mean, people in prison have the most creative ways to figure out anything. And that's why I think they make such great entrepreneurs.
Oh, cool.
As well.
Yeah. I want to talk about that too, because you've got a great program for prison and how to get them going as well too. Right.
Yeah.
So tell me about it. So you created Comeback Snacks through the popcorn. Tell me about that story when you're in prison and you built that and that brainchild came to fruition. Yeah.
So when I went to prison, I knew that like it couldn't have been just me that this happened to. And so I became obsessed with researching like women in the drug trade and why does this happen? It's like put my academic brain to good use. All that money, right? You spend on an arts degree, put it together. But anyway, so I started reading like scholarly articles, just like reading tons of books and data. And I was like, okay, this is going to happen to me. Like, I'm going to meet so many other people in prison that are probably just like me, right? And that's really what I found. And even though, like, maybe not everyone's story, no one's story is like, and I can't speak on behalf of other people's stories, especially based on the fact that I knew that I was very lucky and I did have a family to support me. I mean, I had a lot of work to do. They were really pissed off and hurt. Yeah. And I caused them a lot of grief and turmoil. But I knew that I still had those. And so I know, like, a lot of people didn't. So I recognize that. But at the end of the day, it's like, everyone does things that they regret and finds themselves in situations that are less than ideal. And one of those situations can be prison, but everyone wants to make a comeback. Like every person that I met in there, And so we were just like, but one of the things that we talked about was employment and finding a job, because society still condemns you, that you're still castrated for what you...
Yeah, very hard to get a job, very hard to do anything, get like, credibility, right?
What's the point of this? What's the whole point of prison? Spending billions of taxpayers' dollars on this system when people can't get a job. So, and then they're just going to go, they're just going to, but like it makes it easier to fall back into criminal behavior, which creates more victims, creates more, like what is the point? Yeah. So that's why I was like, every person I met in there was like, I met moms, I met artists, I met like chefs in there. I met people with skills and talents. And that's when I was like, we can do this kind of together. Popcorn was a popular prison snack. And I put my own little spices on it because I was in a medium security facility. And then other people kind of join in and put on their favorite recipes. And then I was like, fuck it. Maybe I'll start a popcorn company with bold flavors and a bold mission. And that's to fight for second chances.
Shit. You know what? Like just talking to you, you've been ambitious since the day you were born. I bet you just ran out of your mom's tummy. You're like, give me the world, right? No matter what, you're going to make the best of it. It just seems like no matter what, the adversity comes. Tell me about getting out of prison, because like, so many people, the entrepreneurial spirit is huge. People want to start a business. They want to do what you've done, right? Because you've built an amazing business, right? What did you do when you first got out? Like the first days of Emily and Comeback Snacks, like what did you do?
So I lived in a halfway house. That was part of your release. It's called day parole. And so when I was in day parole, I had to get a job with a paycheck, because that's what they don't just like support entrepreneurship right away. I mean, a lot of time you get drug dealers. You have to build up trust, right? Which I understand. So I was like, okay, like what else is kind of like synonymous with second chances and rebuilding? And I was like, and then I was on the bus and I drove, like, we drove by this gym and I was like, that's it. I'm going to go apply at this gym because it was on this bus route. And I was close to the halfway house, and I went in and I had my resume. I was like, I'm just going to see if this works. I'm going to try something different. And I had this resume. It's my prison resume. And I put all the jobs I actually had in prison.
That's awesome. Yeah. And
I had my name, and then I actually my inmate number. My cover letter said, hi, I was in prison for narcotics. I'm trying to get back on my feet and trying to get healthy again, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Financially, obviously. And so I would love to work here. And I actually got a job based on that.
Well, it's pretty authentic. Yeah. Very transparent, right? If anything, you're going to look at that and say, damn, she's honest, right?
Yeah, but that's what you see people go to gyms for. It's like they want to keep that health or get that health going, get that comeback going. Yeah. And so I worked at the gym while I was still building like my little bags of making my little bags of popcorn. I would go to Bulk Barn and get the spices. And at that point, I was allowed to go to my mom's house and like work on my recipes so I could leave for the day and come back. And my mom's house was always smelling popcorn. And then I got to a point where it's like, you can sell to like your friends and family from like a home-based kitchen, but you can't sell to the public. Oh. And so from that point, I had done a couple articles with Hamilton Spectator, and then I'd done some other media. And it actually got so much support because it was told in a way that was like from the very beginning to then. It wasn't just like, girl from Westdale gets arrested for drugs. Right. It was... this
The
is how this
comeback.
happened. Yeah.
The whole story.
Yeah, and so a lot of people came in to support. Like someone bought us our first like little medium-sized popper. There was a church that gave us space at their bazaar. There was a man that was actually like, unfortunately, he was dying of cancer. And he's like, I want to make your journey a part of my legacy. And he gave us like $800.
Wow.
There was a farmer's market that had an empty space, and they're like, you can have this for the season. So it was, despite like there was like naysayers, but I was like, didn't even bother me, because it's like, once you've been arrested, like you talk shit to yourself all the time. So like, why would it, coming from a stranger, why would that mean anything to me? So it actually didn't, like, it did not bother me one bit. I was actually like, oh yeah, want to bet?
Yeah. You're like, I've already beat myself up way more than anybody else could,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, I got this.
Yeah.
When did it start to turn? Like, when did you start seeing like more and more momentum? Like, how long did it take for you to start to be like, wow, this has got momentum. This has got wheels.
Yeah. So about 6 months in, we were actually in a store in Dundas called the Horn of Plenty. And so I bartered my social media skills, because they're like, they read about the story and they're like, why don't you make your popcorn in here for free if you can help us with our social media? And I was like, okay. So I did that. So we got like comped kitchen space, like an exchange of services. And then it just became, so I don't know, like if it was, I think it was actually COVID. It was COVID where we grew. Oh, wow. Because we were an essential business. Everyone felt like they were in prison.
Yes.
And so I had this like way of doing deliveries where I would actually talk to people about my prison experience. And I was the one that was still technically incarcerated because I was on parole and everyone else couldn't leave their house. So it was different.
And you were allowed to deliver it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And so people started talking about that, and we ended up having to find a manufacturing partner.
Because it started getting bigger. Like you needed to be able to make more.
And then at this point, like a distributor, they're really good friends, so the Neal brothers. So Peter and Chris Neal, we kind of had started sending feelers out to distributors. And so they wanted to distribute us. So we needed to find like a facility that, had a really, really good, like food safety, all that stuff. Because I'm not in the massive manufacturing business. Like I'm building the brand, and like I built it from the ground up. But every like CPG brand has to like have a co-packing facility. Not everyone, but many of them, unless you like want to go into debt, which we didn't have.
And that basically works like you're splitting profits, splitting cost sharing, that kind of thing, right? For those that don't know, yeah.
So we got that in 2020, and then it's kept. I
love your bootstrapping. Like every single, even talking to you, like even before, like you find a reasonable economic way to be as resourceful as possible still today. Mm-hmm. Like even though there's probably more sales coming in, it doesn't sound like you've changed at all.
No. Well, when you're in prison, you're operating off $7 a day on your wages. You kind of got to figure it out. Figure it out. Yeah.
So what's your biggest, like moving forward to like today, what's your biggest, like with the, like, what do you spend your most time on today on Comeback Snacks? What's your biggest job to do today?
Being around people, talking to people, being at events, being present. It's not behind a screen, or if it is, it's like in meetings, but developing flavors. We're launching new packaging. But honestly, like my bread and butter and like how this brand has grown to be so big is the mission. And so it's spending time working on second chance initiatives, doing talks, even helping strangers out that like heard my story on a podcast and they need some navigation. Like that's what really continues to motivate me. So combining that with popcorn, it's like every store I go to, like I always have popcorn in my car so I can give it to someone, except for today. Oh my God.
That's okay. Yeah.
That's right. It's holiday brain.
Everywhere. Yeah. It's all good.
And meeting people such as Brian from Trinity Sauna. So
amazing. Yeah.
It's all just connecting with other people, and because we all truly are connected. And one of my favorite sayings is like mistakes are universal, but so are comebacks. And you don't have to go to physical prison to know that you've made a mistake and need to make a comeback.
What would you say to people? Because I love that tagline. I was thinking about it. I get a lot of people sometimes, we see in the financial world that they paid the price. Let's say they've gone through the hardship. They've done some things that have been difficult, but they don't want to pay a price again. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that sometimes like you have to make multiple comebacks?
Oh, yeah, of course. But once you do it once or twice, you have the tools.
Right.
All right. So, like I know like in business, you're going to have so many things that get fucked up, or like sometimes you might have a bad partnership, or someone's going to, I don't know, commit fraud. Like there's always things that are going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
Or if maybe it's someone that betrays you, like whatever it is, or maybe you betray someone yourself because of to survive, whatever it is, you're going to have to continue to do those things. And it's never going to be easy, but once you kind of learn how to do it, it's like a muscle.
Yeah.
right? It's like once you can do it, you can be like, hey, I fucked up, like, and
Get back on.
But it's not just like, oh, I did this. It's like putting the work in, and an apology is not just a text or who's cry face. Like, it's like, it takes work, and you aren't always granted forgiveness. You aren't entitled to that.
People talk about work. I'm curious, like, what does your work day look like? Some people think like I see how responsive you are, right? Like a lot, when you reach out to someone to do a podcast, some people get back quick or not quick. You're like lightning. You're super fast. You're on top of everything. You do it with a smile. Like you do it as if you like genuinely want to do it. Some people are fake as fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you actually want to. So what does your day really look like? Because putting in the work, I think, looks different to different people, and I'm curious what that is for you.
Every day is so different. That's what I love about it. But that goes back to like my youth, my childhood, and like not wanting to do like mundane tasks all the time. It's like I'm learning something different every day. Like whether it's like being at a trade show or coming here, and then or going for different lunches with people that I haven't met or people that I have met, or working on new brand partnerships or volunteering somewhere. Every day is honestly so different. Or it's visiting stores, meeting store managers, fixing the merchandising.
Like you're still on the tools. You're still doing all those things. It's not like you have 100 people doing all these things for you.
Yeah.
You're actually the one looking at the stores, fixing the retail design sometimes, and in the weeds on this stuff.
Yeah. And like right before this, I was literally sitting in my car, brushing my hair, doing my makeup while on a call with an organization in the US that does like all the food for the corrections. So it's like the beauty of this job, doesn't really feel like a job, is that I love it so much. Because when you can see other people also grow and like learn from you, and like I also learn from other people too. It's awesome, and you can be yourself. You can fucking be yourself, which is awesome.
You are.
I can go anywhere, and like I know exactly who I am.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Like for people that aren't going to go to jail to find that out about themselves, because I think people struggle with authenticity sometimes. How would you suggest people find that, like who you really are?
Sometimes it has to be the darkest period of your life, and that doesn't have to be jail. It can be any kind of, prison doesn't have to be physical. It can be a mental prison, right? But climbing out of that, like for me, like that worst part wasn't prison itself. It was like the not knowing. It was the house arrest, and I was like so depressed, and I was like miserable, and I was like, okay. Then I was like looking back on all those old photos and being like, this is who I am. So it's like, okay, I got bored of it. I was like, feeling like this is boring, and it's not for me. And I have so much value and like joy and love to bring to the world, and like no one's gonna take that away from me.
Fuck yeah! Oh, I love it. What's tell me one skill that Emily had to build up that you didn't have, like growing through this journey, Comeback Snacks, being, CEO, top of the company, and where you are right now. What's one skill that you've really had to work hard at that you sucked at before over the past trajectory here?
Oh, that I sucked at. Definitely knowing like the business, like of grocery, like the grocery world, and what it takes to get into a store and the process that it takes. Obviously I learned how to pop popcorn and make popcorn. So that was fun, Breaking Bad. But I would definitely say like learning the mechanics of the actual business and how to expand and what it takes, and taking on investors and all those things. So I mean, I'll still never fully understand it because that's more of my business partner stuff. But it's like you have to have like a grasp of everything. And I might not have an MBA, but like you need to be able to understand those things. You know what?
And you touched on something there. How would you choose a good business partner? Like, how do you know someone that like you're getting into bed with for a long time when you do something like this? How would you choose one?
So we didn't really choose, so my business partner now, like he, I'd known him for like a couple years before, and he had a vodka company. So I helped him out with my social media. So we had like drinks together. So when we hit it off, like we were really good friends. And so, he like has like really good like strategy bit, like all that acumen that like I didn't learn in school, but like I'm not the CFO, you know what I mean? Like, but I can like lead and I still know what's going on. So, but you need to have both. Like he's like crucial. Like it was for him. No, like for me, I needed to have both.
Yeah, and EO, there's a company called Entrepreneurs Organization, and they have the visionary and the integrator, right?
Yeah.
So you're like the visionary. Yeah. Vision leadership of the ship. Then you have the integrator who's actually making sure everybody's paid.
Yes.
All the popcorn's popped. Like everything's going, right?
All the trucks are getting from here to here, and the numbers work out, and like the whole grocery business is like, it's actually the real estate business because you're paying for shelf space.
So when you help people that like you have a great program, it's like the Comeback Catalyst program.
Yes, we just finished year 1.
Yeah, tell me about that because you're really passionate about that.
Yeah. So when I was in prison, there's a whole prison economy, right? Like people have services, they'll do things, like the whole trading system in there is like so interesting to me, and like just the tenacity of people to build things out of like what we would think of as nothing. And that's what also I learned about in prison. I was like, I felt so free to create in there. Even people would think, oh, you can't create in there. It's like, I'm not letting you think that I think like that. Right. And so, you'd see like just like the most innovative, like the people would make purses out of J-cloths and like use like various dyes and stuff to like make makeup. So they could be like ready for a court appearance or like a visitor that came, like they take like beet juice and like,
wow.
Right. So just like very, very cool, interesting things. And so like the creativity combined with like the whole like business side of like trade this for that, or like, oh, this is worth this. And then I was like, we all like make pretty good entrepreneurs. And like, it wasn't just my prison experience that, where I kind of noticed that, but it was also like reading other stories of entrepreneurs. Like before I went to prison, I read all these stories of people that had been successful after prison. That was also like kind of like my ammo that I had going in. And so like I read about this guy named Cos Marte, and he was like this kingpin drug dealer in Brooklyn. And he went to jail, and they basically told him like, if you don't get healthy, like you're going to have serious health issues. So in jail, he got super healthy and then started teaching other people how to work out. And then when he got out, he opened up a gym called Con Body, and all the instructors are other people from prison.
Cool.
Right? So it's like you have the resilience, you have quality, you should have quality control,
True.
So if you can sell drugs, you can sell anything.
That's amazing. So do you hire, you hire former inmates, right?
When we can, yeah.
When you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so the Comeback Catalyst program was all about teaching people with criminal records how to use their own skills and assets to generate their own income. And so
awesome.
We had one guy with an ATV, and he bought literally like a plow, and now he's like booked solid for snow.
That's
right.
Awesome.
So it's like you don't have to invest like a crap load of money, or it's like that ideally you don't want to, because you're coming out of prison, you're barely, you're coming out of a place where you couldn't make any income, you usually have bills to pay. So it's like, what skills do I have, or like what can I pull together to generate income? And yeah, we had 120 graduates this year. So
congratulations.
Cool. Yeah.
It's, what I love about that whole population there, it's like, I love the quote, there's never a lack of resources, only a lack of resourcefulness. Mm-hmm. And that is just true demonstration
that.
They can totally do that. When you're hiring someone, for entrepreneurs out there, what do you look for when you hire someone? Or is there any red flags during an interview or during the process where you're like, hell no, I'm not hiring you?
I don't have like a format.
Okay.
Like if someone comes up to me and like I meet them and they have a good energy and they are passionate, I'm not going to make them sit down and because a lot of the times like people are nervous or they have anxiety about that kind of format. So it's like you can still have skills and talents and be able to do something without having to sit down. Yeah. And it's like if you can show up and be passionate and want to do it, and because obviously there's people that would want to reach out, but then they still have like other obstacles in the way, like addictions or mental health, which I can't necessarily solve for them. Right. So it's all about being in that right state to be able to do it and all those things.
Oh, okay,
like,
cool.
Ability to show up and complete it, and yeah. So
you're in 1,300 locations now?
Yes.
1,300.
I know.
That's amazing. So what is the vision then? Like, blow me out 5 years here for Comeback Snacks. Like, where do you see this going? And what would be, I wave a magic wand, 5 years time from now, I'm sitting with M, cheersing on OJ.
In Italy, running my popcorn business. No. We're working in the jails in Italy. No. Awesome. But actually, anytime I travel somewhere and I always research like what organizations I can connect with in other countries, because that's also something that like brings joy to my life. So it's like if I can traveling and learning about other cultures, but then also still helping the people that I'm always going to be connected to, which is like people that have been in prison. Like that's awesome. So that's somewhere where I would be like more connections to international organizations around the world. And as we expand the popcorn, we're going to be launching. We just signed off on a deal with TJX Europe. So the TJ is like HomeSense and TJ Maxx in Europe. Amazing. And so now I can start connecting with all these organizations in Europe and doing talks with them and building those relationships, and then having the potential individuals there help represent the brand in other countries.
Wow.
Right? So I think that, and every day it's like we have these goals of like how many, it's not about stores, it's about, I think, experiences and people that we want to help. As long as I can help a person like every week or something, then like that's good enough for me.
You're humble with that. Like, it's funny because some people put the business first. You've got your mission first. And it almost seems like the mission and Comeback Snacks are so ingrained together. But it seems like you're following that mission first of helping inmates in the past and things like that. And then Comeback Snacks is just kind of, I don't want to say secondary, but it's like that pulls the business along.
Exactly. And that's what makes it grow.
Yeah.
Truly. So
I think that's important for people to understand, right? Because sometimes a lot of people say you need to have that purpose or passion.
Because when you have those awful days when like shit hits the fan for a day or a week, sometimes even a fucking month, you know what I mean? It's like you have to have that grounding motivation to keep you wanting, that keeps you wanting to keep going.
Do you ever have times where you just want to quit, fold it in?
No.
No?
I mean, like I did when I was on charges, yeah. But now, like, I love it. Like, even when it's like a stressful day, like, I feel like I've also, because of the whole prison thing, like, I don't necessarily get as stressed out about things anymore. So I build up this kind of like, I don't want to say like a shield, but like,
it's resilience. Like, it's great.
It's like, I know that it's not the end of the world. And I know that it's like, I went through that and it just wasn't good for me. Like, I didn't like it, and I knew that it wasn't me, but I had to go through it. I had to be stressed out and go through all that and realize that there are so much like bigger things to be stressed out about.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It sounds cheesy, but we're living proof of that, right? Yeah. That's amazing. You know what? Just any other future projects you got working on? I know you're doing speaking engagements now as well too.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like who, what, where, how do we get you to do that?
I've been talking to like so many different groups. I did a Canada-wide tour with Farm Credit Canada, the bank, and spoke to like their young farmer entrepreneurs about like different approaches to entrepreneurship and different thoughts. I spoke with Canadian Home Builders Association on fair chance hiring because there's a labor gap, or there's a labor shortage. And so they're like, what are the benefits of hiring? You know, how can we bring on more people to fill these positions? And so the advantages of that. Where else have I? Oh my God, where else? I spoke. Oh my God, now I'm drawing blanks. I spoke in Waterloo at this, it's called Disrupt HR conference. So that was fun. But that was like, you had 5 minutes, you had to have 20 slides. And mine was, it's not all about the record. It's like why people with records can actually make better employees.
Right.
So different topics, but all about, finding your comeback, the comeback blueprint. That's honestly like what I teach people. It's like how to go from any downfall in life to being your better and best self.
That is awesome. It's so powerful for people to hear right now too. Quick question on housing. What do you think about housing? You told me something a little bit earlier, but I really like that when it comes down to what's your thought on investing, buying a house, real estate? Honestly,
my biggest asset is my business, was my story. And, coming out of prison, it's, you're in debt, you're in regret. And that was kind of like the last thing for me, like having a house or having a place to live in general is like the first thought of people coming out of prison. And I'm lucky to like have a place where I live now, but the place where I actually live is like my business and my work. So I turn my biggest liability into my biggest asset. And what might have been like a shack before, it now feels like, a place that I can, thrive in.
Oh, I love it.
So one day, but I invested in my business and myself, and that's what's given me the biggest returns.
I love that. I couldn't agree more. I think that's really cool. Like, I'm a big advocate for home ownership. Naturally, we run a mortgage brokerage, but I think that investment in yourself pays the best dividends, right? So, at the end here, one book you recommend for everybody to read. What's your one book that you'd tell everybody to read?
The Misfit Economy. Yes, it's like how hackers, pirates, gangsters, and other informal entrepreneurs change the world.
The Misfit Economy.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Never even heard that before. Yeah. Is it fiction or is it like?
No, it's true. It's like all about like having different approaches to like what makes an entrepreneur, even though like it's obviously not good, but it's like, it just makes you think differently. And like, that's what I think about when people coming out of prison that have maybe made a mistake. It doesn't discount the skills that they have.
Right on. So. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Last one here too. We call this podcast the Brick House. So question for you. What do you think, if you were to think of your life as a brick house, like solid foundation, you're resilient as hell, no one's blowing you down, right? Mm-hmm. What's the number one attribute to have in your house for a foundation?
Popcorn. No, I'm just kidding. I would say so the one thing that you need in this house.
In your life. The one thing that you need in your life, like if you could strip away all the other characteristics and you need to start with one, what would that one be?
Well, that's hard. There's so many of that. I would say like a good friend or a good family. Like you have to have those close connections.
Like personal relationships.
Yeah, personal relationships. 100%.
Like that is the foundation then, having personal relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for other people.
You know what, Emily, you're such a connector. You've inspired me a ton. Like being able to reach out, your communication skills, your story. I hope that so many people get value out of this as well too. And I just want to thank you so much for taking your valuable time and sharing it with me and other people here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.